We're here outside of Tommy's Comedy Lounge with John Tobin, who is the co-owner of the place. And do you hold any other titles at Tommy's as well? It's
Chief Bottle Washer, and Ticket Taker, along with Ryan Cott. We also run Nick's Comedy Stop down the street too. So two comedy clubs on the same street. It's kind of a foreign concept.
Tonight was the benefit for Frank Ahearn, who is a longtime friend of comedy. When did you first meet Frank?
I met Frank, she's probably 10, 12 years ago when he was still at the Connection in Faneuil Hall. And even though I never worked for the Comedy Connection, I was always friends with them. And when I became a city councilor, we worked on some issues together at the Comedy Connection when they were filming shows there and permits and things like that. So just a regular down-to-earth guy and someone you like no matter what, even though you were competing with him in a sense. And so after he left the Connection, we just started talking about a vision of, kind of filling the void and putting another club up there in the city of Boston. So we had several lunches and several dinners together and many glasses of wine to talk about it. And, so we've been here since May.
Since Frank's a behind-the-scenes guy, comedy fans, a casual fan probably doesn't know Frank or what he does. Tell us why he's important in Boston comedy, what he's been doing here for the past 15 years or so.
He's just the go-to guy. When things go awry, you go to Frank Ahearn, no matter what the issue is. And just has a level sense of what's going on, and just comes to some sort of agreement. Because everybody loves Frank. And so you see,
which is not easy in Boston comedy.
No, it's not. It's not. You're absolutely right. And but he's worked for. He's worked in a high-pressure situation in the Comedy Connection in Faneuil Hall, where they brought the biggest names in there, and a lot of action going on there, and took care of his friends, and people were always taking care of him. And but no matter what, Frank was always kind of the guy. And out on the golf course, as a roommate, as a confidant, as a friend. He and Kevin Knox were the best of friends, and roommates at one point. And he was able to really bridge the gap between kind of the older guys in the scene, the guys who really brought the scene to Boston, in the middle and newer guys that have come along. And everybody knows Frank and everybody likes him.
And the reason everybody's here tonight is because in December, Frank had a stroke.
Yeah, a couple days after Christmas, actually, December 27th, he had a stroke around 6 o'clock at night. It was a Sunday. I had texted him back and forth that day, and he ran a restaurant down in Quincy and had some chest pains, and apparently got rushed to the Quincy Hospital and had a stroke there, and was at Brigham Women's. And I found out, I went bombing up to Brigham Women's and got there about 9:30, and Frank's whole family was there. A lot of his friends were there, and I think a lot of people, myself included, thought it was the last time we were going to see him. But the thing about Frank, and I haven't known him as long as a lot of his friends that were in that room tonight. The guy's a fighter. And, he fought his way, through being unconscious for weeks, and then Brigham Women's for 7 or 8 weeks, and Spalding rehab in and out of that place for 3 weeks, and now he's down at Situate. And Frank's back. He's on his way because he's a fighter and he works hard at it.
Now, people were able to talk to him tonight through Skype, correct? And you had that set up. The show was down in the Sheer Madness room, and above, for people who aren't familiar, there's Sheer Madness goes down to the basement. Tommy's Comedy Lounge is upstairs. Right. And Frank was in the lounge tonight, right?
Frank was in the lounge tonight. I told Frank it was the biggest crowd we've ever seen in Tommy's. It was for his benefit, and that's the truth. Paula Murphy, who runs the Charles Playhouse and was a cocktail waitress here at Tommy's, which was the original Comedy Connection.
Yes.
Before I went to Faneuil Hall. Paula and she and Frank are best of friends, and she's the one who put this whole thing together, along with Dana Parker, who was Frank's right-hand woman at the Comedy Connection for many, many years. And so Paula came up with the idea of doing Skype. I've never used Skype before, but it was amazing. I saw Frank down in Situate on Friday. I wasted all that gas because I could have seen him live on television and high res right on the screen. But it was set up right in front of the stage, and people could go in and just go in and talk to him. And his sister was there, and myself and Scott Bernstein, who now works for National Amusements, we went and talked to him. And Scott used to work for Frank, and had a 10-minute conversation with him. So we asked him what the Bruins score was, what the Red Sox score was, and we were all set, and then we left. But there was a line of people to see him, and he just looks great. He looks great. that was a great idea to do that.
What does he still need now? There's a benefit tonight, and there are benefits going on next month. And I'd assume is this next month the last one, or are you continuing to do them as?
I think everybody in the comedy community and Frank's community spreads beyond comedy. It's the people who run the bars around Faneuil Hall, and the people he golfs with, and his boyhood friends from where he grew up. Many of whom were in the room tonight. People I think are going to do whatever it takes to make sure that Frank has everything he needs, for full recovery. And there's another benefit. We had 195 people here tonight who bought tickets for tonight on a Monday night, and it was the very best in Boston comedy tonight. When you think of Gavin and Seisler and Patty Ross and Jimmy Dunn and Greg Murphy was hosting, and it was just great. And there's another one on Monday, the 26th, May 26th. But whatever it takes, I know there's golf tournaments planned and anything it takes. Because Frank, even though he's a fighter, he's got a long road ahead of him. But we're working hard to ensure that he's back here at the door at Tommy's and Nick's Comedy Stop and wherever else he wants to be.
Who's on the bill on the 26th?
Glad you asked me that, but I do not have the information on that. But I'm sure it'll be a great bill.
Well, where would people go to keep track of this?
Go to Tommy'sComedyLounge.com, Ticketmaster.com, and I know that there are people that we wanted that I know Paula wants trying to get on the show, but for brevity's sake and for 2 hours, people would demand to be on the show, and I think the lineup will be equally as great on Monday the 26th, and maybe a few return performances. But it speaks a lot about Boston comedy and comedians. They're always helping out their own, and it's not just fellow people who are on stage. It's people behind the scenes like Frank, and Frank's formed a lot of lifelong friendships and relationships, and I think tonight was in moving forward. And the past, since it happened in December, which is now 5 months ago, is really a testament to the strength of their friendships and relationships with Frank. And it's a constant stream of visitors. It always has been, to bring the women's to Spalding, now to Situate, even though for a lot of us it's far away. And now here to Tommy's on a Monday night. That will continue, and we just can't wait to have Frank back here.
And there's a website to keep track of his progress as well.
Yeah, it's caringbridge.org.
Yes.
And that's been, his nephew set that up, and that was a real lifeline for a lot of people who live out of state or live out of town, who couldn't keep up with Frank, and they would, even though his advances in technology is now with Twitter and Facebook and things like that, that was really to keep up to date on Frank's progress and move forward. And there were very scary moments and times there, particularly since it happened and in the weeks following, and people were to keep a track of that. And so his nephew maintained that and set that up, and it's been great. But now people see some people came tonight who hadn't seen Frank, and they got to see him tonight on screen, and that was the real McCoy. And as Don Gavin mentioned during his act, he went down to see Frank 4 days ago. It's a true story, and he got in an argument with him, so we know Frank's feeling better.
Well, thanks for taking the time to speak with us.
Thanks for covering it, Nick. I appreciate it.